In this episode, we want to talk about relative pronouns. And we need to start off actually with English. In English, the relative pronouns are who, whose, whom, which, and that. And I will tell you there's going to be quite a bit of information to copy from the slides today. So just as we go through, obviously pause the video as you need to get the information copied into your notes, and then press play when you're ready to go on. Staying with English for a moment, some of those pronouns relate to people, some of them relate to things, and some can relate to either a person or a thing. So here's a handy little chart that can help you see which English pronoun can go with a person or a thing, and for translating which of the Latin cases. Now you want to set up a chart that looks like this for the Latin forms. We're going to have a singular side and a plural side, but under each of those two sides, we've got masculine, feminine, and neuter columns, because these pronouns can relate to obviously any kind of noun. And then we have our 5 cases down the side. And the relative pronouns look like this in Latin: qui, qui, quod, cuius, 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 cui, 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 quem, quam, quad, quo, qua, quo. Then on the plural side, qui, 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 quorum, 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 quibus, 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 quos, quos, qui, and quibus, quibus, quibus. Now, another key feature to this is a term called the antecedent. The antecedent of any pronoun is the noun that pronoun relates to or replaces. The key thing here is that in Latin, relative pronouns get their gender and number from their antecedents, from the nouns that they replace. They get their case from how the pronouns themselves, are actually being used. And the only real way for that to make sense is to see an example. So we have this sentence here: audiebamus puellas quae per silvam currebant. Go ahead and circle the relative pronoun in this sentence and draw an arrow to its antecedent. You should have circled quae and drawn an arrow to puellas. It's the only noun that comes before the relative pronoun. Audiebamus is a verb. Now identify the case, number, and gender of both the antecedent and the relative pronoun. What you'll notice is that puellas is accusative, plural, feminine. Quae is nominative, plural, feminine. It needed to be plural and feminine because of puellas. That's why we have the arrows kind of connecting them there, so help you see that. But puellas is the direct object of audiebamus. Quae, as we'll see in the translation, is actually the subject of the rest of the sentence. That's why it has to be nominative. So the case of the relative pronoun may not always be the same as the case of its antecedent. And if we were to translate this sentence, we would see something like, we were hearing the girls who were running through the forest. So again, in that second section there, who were running through the forest, you could just as well have said, girls were running through the forest, Romans were running through the forest, who were running through the forest. The word who is functioning as the subject. Again, that's why it's nominative, even though the antecedent was accusative. And that's how relative pronouns work.